I'll leave it with me, see what I can do.
Alright folks, hello again, welcome back to my channel and straight into this one. As woodworkers, makers, DIY folk, I never know how we should refer to ourselves sometimes, these kind of jobs crop up and it's not about hourly rate, cost of materials, exchanging a cash, it's about helping out a neighbour, a friend or someone who might need a little bit of assistance. Which leads us to today's video and me replacing two fence panels that have literally crumbled to the ground. If I'm being honest, I've put paper through my printer thickening the wood that was used to make these old panels. Clearing away the space only took about half an hour and the ivy was a bigger problem than the old fence panels themselves. Now I'm going to be using a product I've never used before to make these panels, which is a grab and bond adhesive from CT1. I'll leave a link in the description. So I thought it best to clean up the concrete post using a wallpaper scraper and a wire brush beforehand to give it the best opportunity to bond correctly. Okay, I've raided my wood store and found some lengths of this extremely dense hardwood that I'll be attaching to the concrete posts to form an upright, which will then allow me to fix some tongue and groove cladding that I've got for this job. Let me know what you think the hardwood is in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's ecky based on the end grain, weight and shear density. If it is, then it will certainly outlast the concrete that it's about to be attached to. Right, the pieces of eckie are cut to 1.2 metres and I'm attaching them to the concrete posts using a liberal amount of this CT1. To give you an idea price wise, if you're thinking of doing a job like this, I attached 4 lengths of the wood to the posts and that more or less used up a full tube of CT1, which cost me just over £10. Quick tip from the guys at the timber yard was to put the tube of CT1 in a tub of warm water for half an hour before using it, particularly in these current colder climates, as then it dispenses much easier. I decided on a belt and braces approach to clamp the wood to the posts, which I don't actually think is necessary, but it certainly won't do it any harm, and called it a day at this stage once I attached the 4 uprights. I returned the following morning to find, thankfully, that my clamps were still there and the pieces of timber were rock solid fixed to the concrete posts. I'm seriously impressed with this power bond and grab stuff from CT1 and will be certainly using it in future projects for myself. Now it's on to fixing the cladding that I have to make up these panels. Please bear with me for a minute while I explain my one-handed technique. This method works really well when the concrete posts aren't square or level and you can cut each piece of cladding to fit. If I tried to install a pre-made fence into these spaces, it simply wouldn't work and I wouldn't be able to do it myself anyway. For me, the most important part of this process is getting the first strip of cladding level, and to do that I just use some packers to adjust the first piece and then regular checking with my level as I add each additional piece. Once I've got it where I want it to be, I tack the cladding to the timber uprights with a brad nail. I need to let you know now before you dive into the comment section that the brad nail is only a temporary fix to hold it in place before I return later with some proper fixings to secure the cladding to the uprights. As I previously mentioned, these concrete posts weren't exactly level, so the higher I went up with the cladding, the more adjustments I had to make. This is where my cordless miter saw from Rutland's Tools really came into its own. As you can see, it wouldn't have been the easiest of places to get a power source to, so a cordless miter saw like this was really helpful. Plus it's lightweight and compact, making it ideal for these kind of jobs. I'm also a Rutland's affiliate, so if you're thinking of making any purchase from Rutland's Tools and use the link in the description, then a small commission will go towards the channel. Onto the second panel, and exactly the same as the first, making sure that the initial piece of cladding is level, and a quick check as I add the additional pieces. Now what you use for the cladding is entirely your own choice. This is 15mm thick tongue and groove treated timber. 18mm would obviously be a better choice, but sometimes it's a case of whatever you have available, and as this is a favour for a neighbour situation, I used what I had. This is perfectly adequate though, and in my humble opinion, much better than the majority of pre-made fence panels you would purchase from a large DIY store. This step here is completely unnecessary and maybe feeds into that little bit of undiagnosed OCD. Here I'm using my Hupar laser level, which lights up a horizontal line on the cladding panels, then using a marker pen to place a dot where I'm going to apply the fixings. This means when I walk past these panels in the future and see a nice straight line of fixings into the timber uprights, it will make me a happy person. I forgot to film part of the process as I decided to pre-drill with a countersink bit before driving in the fixings, as I was a little worried about the Eckie accepting a fixing without a pilot hole. Pre-drilling was definitely the right call though, and made it a much simpler process. One final step involved covering up where I cut some of the cladding against one of the concrete posts. It looked a bit scruffy as some of the cladding sections weren't even, so I found a little bit of oak trim in the workshop, glued it flush to the upright with some 03A CA glue before fixing it with some brad nails. And there we have it, job done. I have to apologise for some of the, shall we say, unusual camera angles. Well, as you can imagine, filming in public comes with its challenges, and I don't necessarily want to come across as that idiot who is filming himself making fence panels. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, would you consider giving it a like and maybe even subscribing to the channel? As ever, take care, look after yourselves, look after your neighbours, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.